Welcome everyone. Today's unboxing is the Warhammer Underworld's Diachasm Crimson Court. So I haven't played Underworlds for God knows how long. I got the first box that came out. So the first Underworlds box was Shadespire. Got that. Really good game. Had a lot of fun. Quickly realised all of the gangs, the forces, are brilliant. They look ace, fantastic models. And initially I thought it was a cheap buy-in. You just get, the faction you want that looks cool, enjoy playing it. I quickly realised they got you. Yes, it may be cheap, it may be affordable, but the more factions you have, basically the better cards you can potentially get. Because some of the cards in the decks could be used in any faction, and sometimes it has a little symbol, can only be used for the faction that you've just bought. So if you buy all the factions, you have the chance to have better cards and probably do better in the game. So I didn't go to any competitions or anything like that. I just played locally, just had a bit of fun. I didn't get into it too hard. And that was difficult for me because I really wanted to get all the different factions because they just look so cool. So being a Chaos fan, obviously I had the main core box. So I did like basically the Blood Reavers in that box, which is really cool. And I did crack and buy Mangor's Fiends, so they're basically the Blood Warriors with Riptooth, I believe, is in there, which is a Flesh Hound. So that's pretty cool. And I wasn't going to do any more. Then I entered a competition at Curtain Games in Crediton. Real nice guys, please check them out. And I won the second box on the weekend it was released. So obviously you've got some nice ghosties in there, and once again you've got your Stormcast. I'm not a massive Stormcast fan. I do prefer them with like the cloth on them. It kind of breaks up a bit. And if you know me by now, you know that I paint the models and play the models I like the look of the most. So Stormcast really isn't my personal thing, but I hear they're pretty strong in game. So I haven't picked any up for ages. I know there's some great bands out there, there really is. I like the Skepple Guard, whatever they're called, the skeletons basically. They look really cool. And I've really tried not to buy any of them because I didn't play the game enough to justify buying loads of them. But they all are about 20 quid, 25 quid, something like that. Very affordable. I was doing really well recently. Got to Diachasm and I was like, okay, there's some Chaos guys in there, I'm going to be good. I'm not going to touch it. And then bam, Crimson Court come out and I'm thinking, these guys are fantastic. So even if I do not play Underworlds ever again, I still think these guys would be great to paint up for maybe a D&D campaign I might be playing, something like that. Or they just look cool on the shelf. Or I'm just going to go way hard into Underworlds and get all the back catalogue of all the gangs. Or just play these guys. So that was a bit of a long intro. In essence, I bought these guys because they look pretty, basically. Pretty in a undead, scary looking way. So, box art looks great. And on the side it says about your warband, construct your deck, build your warband. On the back shows you have 4 fighters, 4 fighter cards, 32 Crimson Court, and 30 Universal upgrade cards, ploy cards, spell cards, objective cards. So these guys must be quite elite because there's only 4 in this pack. Unlike the first box I played when you're playing the Reavers. Yeah, Khorne doesn't care. They don't give him armor. They're just there to die. There's quite a few models. Obviously, you've got like the gang, like the skeletons, for example. I think there's 7 models in there because they literally are meant to die again because they're the undead. So these guys must be fairly elite. I mean, the Stormcast guys, there's only 3 in their gang. So, yeah, let's take a look at these guys. But if you can see this, without trying to get any shinies on the screen, there we go. That's what these guys look like assembled. Obviously not painted, but assembled. So I'm thinking this would be ace. For D&D personally, I'm going to have like a Lord and Lady Vampire, some tyrants maybe ruling an empire or a continent. Maybe they have their elite guard and they have maybe one assassin, or you know, he looked great as some kind of elite warrior because he's got bat wings. So that looks pretty cool. That's pretty cool, and that's what I bought them for initially. But we'll see. We'll see what the future will bring. I might go way back into Underworlds. And oh, there's a bit of tape there. I'll just cut that off a sec. So there we go. Me and packaging do not get on. So the pretty remodels. And one of the many things I like about Underworlds is the bases. Broadsword. I mean, yeah, the bases look great. So this one just looks like cracked earth, maybe cracked stone. Like a jawbone there, some skull there that's been smashed in. Not the best base I've seen for Underworlds, but still really cool. It's quite spindly looking models. That's the lady in the deck. I don't know the names yet. I haven't opened up the cards. But yeah, she's got quite the head of hair. Nice rapier. That's like the guardsman guy with a massive two-handed maul. Obviously, Games Workshop standards of models, so excellent. And when I paint these guys up, I'll put them on Instagram or on our Facebook page, so you guys can see them. So yeah, the guy with the wings looks pretty damn cool. Great detail there, like a little blood drop on the sword, hilt of the sword there. That's part of the base, standing on some kind of stone statue. It's got a crack in the face. It's going to look great. So I'll cut the shiny stuff off of the cards. Okay, so Crimson Court assembly guide. Not too bad, some push fits. I say reasonably simple, because only because I've been building the unmade for Warcry at the moment, and they're fiddly as hell, and loads of little spikes. A couple of small little bits there. But a reasonable level of skill, but nothing too challenging. Looking pretty good. So the main cards for these guys. So if you ever played Warcry before, you have a inspired side, a non-inspired side, and that happens with all of these guys. So each gang inspired in different ways. I haven't played many gangs, so with the first lot from the first box, the Corn guys, they got inspired if 3 or more models died in the game. So it doesn't have to be them, it doesn't have to be the opponent, any combination of, they all get inspired. Whereas the Stormcast in that box were inspired if they make an armor save, effectively, and they're individually inspired. So let's check out these guys. So the basic stats, movement 4. They get to roll 1 defense dice, so looking for shields, and 4 health. The paired blades, range 1, roll 2 dice, looking for hammers, and they do 2 damage. So paired blades, scything, if this fighter has bloodthirst. The curse, at the start of the round, give this fighter 1 hunger counter. Okay. The hunger is a reaction apparently. After this fighter's attack action, which takes an adjacent enemy out of action, remove 1 of the hunger counters for this fighter. So that makes sense fluff-wise. The vampires, you take models out, you get rid of the hunger. So, bloodthirst is a special rule in the red box here. If this fighter has 3 or more hunger counters, she has bloodthirst and cannot be on guard. Okay, so I personally didn't use guard much anyway. And on the inspired side, the movement, defense, and wounds are the same. And the weapon itself looks the same, apart from you have cleave, which is pretty good against someone going on guard, for example, stuff like that. Ignores one shield and has ensnare. Okay, and it also has lurking hunger. After activation, if this fighter has 3 or more hunger counters, this fighter is uninspired. Okay, so that's pretty cool. When I was first reading this, I was thinking, did they start inspired then? That'd be pretty cool. But what actually, from what I can gather, is at the start of each round, this fighter gets 1 hunger counter. Okay, and the only way to inspire them is to remove hunger counters. So if they have no hunger counters, then they become inspired, unlocking some extra rules. So this one doesn't get any extra damage or anything. But Velis von Fane, after attack action which takes an enemy out of action, remove 1 hunger counter from this fighter. So, in the first turn, you start off with 1 hunger token. If you manage to kill someone in the first turn, which is fairly unlikely, it will get inspired. Because you have to remove the hunger tokens, hunger counters, to become inspired. So it's going to be pretty hard in the first turn to get inspired. With this one, this guy, same thing. At the end of the action phase, this fighter has no hunger counters. So this guy has the same movement, same defense, same wounds. He has a range 2 weapon, which this is the guy with the massive 2-handed mace, or maul. He says mace there, so yeah, it's definitely a mace. The same thing applies, 2 hammers for 2 dice, 2 damage. So, yeah, okay. So it has a -1 move to a minimum of 0 and +1 wounds if this fighter has a bloodthirst. Okay. So it's pretty weird. So if you have bloodthirst, it's when you have 3 or more hunger counters. So it's almost got like 2 ways to inspire. If you can call bloodthirst inspiring, alright, he will become slower, but you have plus wounds. That's pretty good. Whereas this woman here, bloodthirst here, okay, so she cannot be in guard if she has bloodthirst. So bloodthirst basically makes them like mindless, I guess. You know, the thirst for blood just makes them a little bit less tactical, I guess. So she can't go on guard. This guy here gets slower, but he has extra wounds. It's going to be harder to kill. So same thing again. Hunger loses a hunger counter if he takes an adjacent enemy out to inspire. So when this guy gets inspired, it gets knocked back and an extra damage. Okay, and he has a spell, hence that symbol there. So a Beastial Transformation, spell action. If cast, choose 1 friendly fighter within 4 hexes, 1 enemy fighter within 4 hexes. Remove 1 hunger or wound counter. Wow, you really want to inspire this guy pretty quickly, don't you? Because he can't do his magic until he's inspired. Remove 1 hunger or wound counter from one of the chosen fighters and give it to another. So he's pretty good at controlling. I just think he looks like a wicked model, to be fair. So you all got a kind of inspire, which makes them less tactical, and then an actual inspire. So the red is the apparently iffy one when they get bloodthirsty and they get savage as hell, and more lethal, I guess. So this one here, he has a +2 move if he has bloodthirst. So he has 3 or more hunger tokens. He has that. But it's going to be quite difficult to inspire them if he has 3 or more hunger tokens. So you really want them to get in combat fairly quickly and start killing stuff if you want to inspire them, or you can just let them get bloodthirst. They wouldn't be inspired, but still, they still have a fairly cool ability. So same thing again, takes a friendly fighter out of action. Oh, sorry, enemy fighter out of action. It's pretty cool. Take a friendly out of action. It'd be amazing, right? And increases the defense. So you notice on this guy, 4 movement as before, 4 wounds as before, but rather than a shield, this guy's got an evade. So evade isn't as easy to get on the dice. I think it's like a 1 in 6 chance to get evade, and there's 2 shield symbols on the dice. So not so easy to pull off, but when he is inspired, he has 2 defense dice, which is pretty cool. So range is 1 on his Savage Assault. 3 swords rather than hammers, so swords aren't as easy to get hold of. Hammers are easy to come by, but he's got 3 dice, so yeah. There's 2 damage. If he inspired, he turns to hammers, which is definitely more accurate. 3 hammers, it's pretty nice. So, he has also a special rule when he is inspired. When this fighter makes a move action, he can move through blocked and occupied hexes. Well, to be fair, he's flying, so that all makes sense. He can move wherever the flip he likes. And those big wings, he just looks so cool. Okay, so this is the leader, Prince Davao. So, movement 4. So everybody's movement 4. He's got 1 defense dice, which is a shield, for health, which is like everybody else. And that goes to 2 defense dice when he's inspired, which is pretty nice. 1 range on his weapon. Obviously he's the leader. 3 hammers, so he's going to be fairly accurate. 2 damage, so no one does massive amounts of damage. And on the back, he will then gain cleave. So cleave basically is easier to get through someone's defense. So as long as he inspires, that'd be pretty nice. So if he has bloodthirst, so once again, 3 or more hunger counters. So if he doesn't take anybody out of action, starts racking up those counters, he will get -1 dice to his possessed blade, to a minimum of 1, but +1 damage. So yeah, you will hit harder, and when he is inspired, he can do also his spell, which is pretty cool. Fiendish Lure. So yeah, after you take a fighter attack action, takes target out, and choose 1 enemy fighter within 4 hexes of this fighter. Push chosen fighter 2 hexes closer to this fighter. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I won't go into all of the cards. So usual tricks apply. You have your ploy cards, and you have your objective cards. What I do like also is you get a bit of a blurb in this one that I didn't get with the other packs, which is pretty cool. Like I said, I've only got 1 pack outside of the boxes so far. I'm pretty sure I didn't get a little bit of background fluff, but I'll leave that there. So you guys want to hit pause, unless you guys want me to read you a story. And then you all might fall asleep. Right, so objectives. Okay, so for 3 glory, Blood Curse. Score in the 3rd phase if surviving friendly fighters have 10 or more hunger counters. Yeah, if you want to play and not get inspired, you know, you can get extra damage and extra movement on some of the guys, but I don't know, it seems like if you've got a couple of hunger counters on each guy, you're pretty much on the back foot trying to get rid of the hunger all the time. So if you want to inspire them, you've got to get them to start killing people pretty quickly. So against probably Stormcast, it's going to be quite hard to do. Most of them only do 2 damage. I mean, Prince Davao is fairly accurate, but they're only speed 4, they're not massively fast. Okay. Or if there is 1 surviving enemy fighter. That's going to be more likely. That's going to be more likely. We have Courtly Hunt. So score this immediately after the first fighter is taken out of action in this round, if that fighter is an enemy, adjacent enemy fighter. Yeah, first round card only. Wow, it's going to be quite hard to pull off, really. Crimson Hounds. Score this immediately after an activation in which a friendly fighter made an attack action that targeted an enemy fighter adjacent to one or more other friendly fighters. Yeah, that's fairly likely to happen, hence the 1 point. But I like the score immediately, because it means you can potentially score more in a game, because you can draw a card straight away. I won't go through all of these, but that being said, the artwork is pretty cool. So I'll just hold it there if you guys want to pause it and check it out. You can do. So I'll pick a couple at random, I guess. Just smack the board. Recovered Poise. Score this in the end phase if one or more friendly fighters is inspired. Fairly easy to score. There's only 1 point though. I do like the artwork. That guy looks so cool. It looks like a decent version of Chaos Possessed. Worthy Opponents. Score this in a end phase if one or more opponents that has the same number of glory points as you or more glory points than you. It's going to be quite hard to pull off, I would say, but that's just me. Right, okay, so we have the Universal cards, which are the cards with this symbol over here, and then if you don't know, the specific cards have this symbol. So Universal cards you may have seen before, so I'll just go through a couple. There is a full list, I believe, on the Warhammer community page under the Crimson Court. So we'll go for one random. Sawtooth Dagger. So this is a piece of equipment. So you spend a glory. And this fighter is a hunter. Okay. It's a range 1 weapon, 3 swords, 2 damage, plus 1 damage on a critical hit. You can reroll 1 dice and okay, so you can reroll 1 dice in the attack roll if the target has 1 or more move or charge tokens. Okay. Okay. So a bit more accurate, basically. Tremendous Maul. Okay. Cleave and knockback 2 if you have the primary primacy token. Okay. Do like the artwork. Picture of the court. Just chillaxing, you know. I do notice I've actually got, I do apologise, a couple cards mixed up here. So I've actually got some. I did wonder why some of these upgrades were giving me glory. It's because those are actually objective cards as well. So you have quite a few objective cards. Only play 12 objective cards in a game, but they give you quite a few choices there. That's pretty nice. And then I'll run through, if you guys want to pause, specific cards. There's no point in me reading them all out. This video could be an hour long. And, you know, like I said, it is on the Warhammer community site. But we have Beastial Transformation. Sounds pretty cool. Choose one friendly fighter. Discard that fighter's upgrades. Ooh. That fighter's range 1 attacks have cleave and ensnare. And each enemy fighter is a quarry. This effect persists until that fighter is given an upgrade or until the fighter is taken out of action. So you don't want to put it on somebody that has upgrades, because you've got to get rid of upgrades. I haven't seen one like that before. That's pretty cool. Makes sense, because if you did turn into a beast, all your gear would be broken or dropped and things like that. Like in Dungeons & Dragons, if you turn into a bear, for example, you can't exactly carry a pickpocket's, kit or something, can you? Blood Vial. Choose one friendly fighter. Remove up to 2 of the chosen fighter's hunger counters and heal 1. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. So you could get someone inspired. That's pretty cool. So there is ways of getting your guys inspired without actually killing people. Because it doesn't actually say you get inspired by killing someone. It says you get inspired by not having any hunger tokens on you. Blood chalice. Definitely Majesty. Glutton for gore. Oh, look at that guy. Such a messy eater with that donut. Very cool. When this fighter is given 1 or more hunger counters, instead give this fighter that many plus 1 additional hunger counter. When 1 or more of this fighter's hunger counters are removed, instead remove that many plus 1 additional. Okay, that's pretty good. If you think you're going to kill somebody, yeah, brilliant. So it just basically makes, if he's got loads of hunger tokens on him, it makes him inspire quicker. But you probably want to make sure he's going to kill a few people first. And with 2 damage a pop, he's not massively hard hitting, but they just look so cool. Reaction after this fighter's successful Savage Assault. So that guy has Savage Assault. Attack action, deal 1 damage to the target. So as long as he is successfully performed the action, he does 1 additional damage. So brilliant with the previous card that I was just talking about. Really can make him inspire quite fast. But it's an upgrade, so he needs a glory token first. Vampiric Might. Vampiric Speed. Plus 2 move. Instead if this fighter has Bloodthirst or Inspired. Okay, so normally plus 1 move, but plus 2 if Bloodthirst or Inspired. Because sometimes Bloodthirst might not necessarily be a bad thing. I think I'm going to play a game and just get them all Bloodthirst first and see what happens. Because I don't think they're going to be that bad. It seems like they have a negative and a positive. And sometimes losing speed but hitting harder is not necessarily a bad thing. Because if you're going against a slow army and you're not really aiming for the objectives that say grab objective 1 or objective 2, you're just going for killing stuff, yeah, go for it. But they also do need speed to get in there quickly if they do want to be inspired. So there you go. So I've run through the cards fairly briefly, so you guys can pause it if you want and check out some of the rules. But this unboxing video, basically, it was just to show off the models, tell you personally what I'm going to do with them, run through the basic cards with them. All the upgrade cards I could go through all day, but like I said, they're all on the Warhammer community page. But I think these guys look so fun. I haven't played the game, probably the last 2 editions of this game. So it's going to be pretty interesting for me to pick it up again, rip through a few games. One of the local guys at our club, Marcus, he's been a beast with this game. He's pretty much picked up all the factions up until now. And it's interesting to see that these guys have like 2 kind of ways of leveling up. One way, obviously, it puts you on the back foot, but also gives you a cool ability. And the other way is obviously to inspire, like any other faction out there. But yeah, artwork once again has not let me down. And I think the models just look wicked. So, very brief unboxing video. Hope you enjoyed it. If not, if you want to hit the dislike button, that's totally cool. Just put a comment down below and tell us how we can improve these videos. So for me, it was basically just a refresh on Underworlds, because I haven't played in so long, and basically telling you I may play Underworlds, but I'm probably going to paint these guys up, show off my semi-limited painting skills, and probably take some D&D stories of how I've used these guys. So I just think they look so cool. Look at that. How can you not love those guys? Unless they've got their fangs into your neck. Then you probably wouldn't love those guys. And for once, I probably will stick to the box art, because I think the red armour just looks so cool. I was thinking just black armour and really pop the edge highlights. So maybe like some kind of, like the old Chaos Warriors maybe. But I don't know. If I do paint them red, you can't see the gore and stuff all over the armour, can you? But I suppose you can see it running down his pale hand, for example. But we'll see. Okay, thank you for watching. Hobby safe. See you guys next time.